What's up, everybody? Welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome back. I hope you guys are doing good. Sorry for coming late. I thought I was gonna actually jump on immediately, but the news keeps doing news hits, and so the live was on and off. But I have some updates, a press conference, some clips that they just posted from the chopper, and to me, it seems like things are kind of getting worse. I think the temperature. I'll play the presser in a second. Give you guys a minute to join. Let me make sure YouTube actually started up because sometimes YouTube, you think it started? Okay, I think we're good. You guys see me, hear me? Happy Saturday. A lot of people are concerned about what is happening out there in California. Thanks, CK. And apparently they just issued a state of emergency. State of emergency declared following chemical incident in Garden Grove. Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency on Saturday in response to the ongoing chemical incident. Roughly 40,000 people, crazy, 40,000 people are under evacuation after a tank containing toxic chemicals began to leak. Now, it's a 34,000 gallon tank, but I think in that 34,000 tank, it's leaked to the point of like 7 or 6,000 gallons left in there. And we had talked about yesterday too. People were asking a lot of questions. I didn't know the answers to this stuff too, because I've covered hazmat stuff, but nothing like this, where it's kind of like a ticking time bomb, where they kind of literally tell you the only options are it leaks or it explodes. What? There's no what? There's no. It either leaks thousands of gallons or it explodes. And I can't imagine for the people that had to get up and leave. And the thing we talked about yesterday was like the other tanks that are there. Can they explode? Can there be like a chain reaction? And one of the things that the guys mentioned, the guy during the press conference, which we're going to watch, he says that there's like a 15,000 gallon tank there, I think. And last night they had sent a crew from the manufacturer, like, I don't know, some people from the laboratory, to try to go in there and neutralize the 15,000 gallon tank, to try to remove or lessen the danger. And when they went in there and they saw the temperature, the thermometer, that's when they realized, because the whole time they've been getting the temperature from a drone up in the air and getting a temp from the outside. But I guess there's a temp on the inside too. And so when they saw the gauge in person, they were like, oh shit, it's actually rising. I guess they've slowed how fast it's rising, but it's rising. So pretty crazy now, state of emergency. So they'll be able to get assistance, I guess, from federal emergency and government agencies, as well as a response from resources. There's 4 evacuation centers now. Let me start out with this first. Before we even do that, this was like really important and interesting. Oh, I fixed the audio. No. Could be that.
The Hazmat.
Okay. All right, let me play this. I gotta figure out the audio problem there.
Good morning. My name is Craig Covey. I'm Incident Commander of the Western Incident, the Hazmat incident in Garden Grove. Try to give you a little update this morning of what's going on. Yesterday afternoon, I did report that we had some positive intel and that the tanks were stable and we were keeping the temperature cool, and actually we thought we were reducing it a little bit. Unfortunately, I had to say thought. Those temperatures we were doing is via drone, doing readings on the external of the vessel. It's not covering the interior temperatures inside of what's actually the liquid is at. But with that intel and working with the chemist from the emergency response team from the manufacturer, we made a call last night to go back offensive. We've been defensive this whole time out of life risk and our hazard of the explosion. Going back offensive, we did put people in harm's way last night with support of the chemist team, that emergency response team, and our members. We did put them back in harm's way last night with an attempt to go in and neutralize the additional tank, the 15,000 gallon tank. We want to neutralize that product to remove its explosive potential should the 7,000 gallon tank blow up. So when the members went in there, they were able to go see the gauge that's being covered by water. You can't see it from a distance, you can't see it from a drone. They were able to go in there and see the gauge and actually see what the internal temperature is of this tank that's having issues. Unfortunately, I do have to report that the temperature was 90 degrees. Yesterday morning, it was 77 degrees when we backed out. It's been averaging about a degree an hour increasing. So that's the bad news. Unfortunately, I have to share with you. There's some thoughts here. So we still have the two plans, right, that we were handed this incident off to us. Does it rupture and spill, or does it blow up? Right now, one of the concepts we're thinking about is because of the heavy deluge of water and cooling it, we're allowing it to cure at a slower rate and reducing its overpressure building. It's one of the thoughts. So like an ice cube that freezes from the outside in, this stuff cures, it heats up and cures from the outside in. While it's doing that process, it's building that pressure. There's a void space above the top layer of the water or the liquid to the top space. We're hoping that that space can absorb a slower cure rate and not overpressure and blow up. So that's the third option. We're optimistic and we're trying to look into validate, get some technology in there that can validate our thoughts, do some additional research. In addition to that, we're bringing people in from all over the country, talking to people all over the place, trying to come up with additional options. Letting this thing just fail and blow up is unacceptable to us. Our goal is to find something and not allow that happen, not let it damage our community, not let it damage our environment. That's unacceptable. So we're going to continue with that out-of-box thinking, come up with those other plans. Concurrently, we're working on how do we respond to this thing should it fail. So we have very aggressive plans being developed for contingency for fire emergency, for medical emergencies, which should be limited because thankfully you have followed our direction and removed the life safety hazard of this by evacuating. The only life safety hazard now is our firefighters and our police officers and that chemistry team going down range. That eliminates a big part of this problem. And the last thing we're doing is we're preparing for the tank to fail and spill the liquid all over the place. We're going to try to establish some diking and damming and divert it to a spot that could be a holding area. There's a trailer offloading spot, if you're familiar with that, at commercial buildings. It kind of goes downgrade. We're looking for places that we can push this fluid should it fail and try to prevent it from getting into our storm drains, our river channels.
Yeah, oof. Another thing to think about. Yeah, storm drains, water, vegetation. I don't know. So this is like the latest official update that I saw, but we have a lot of interesting things to look at. I hope the people that are out there are safe, hopefully evacuated. I'm assuming most people did. Yesterday they said there's like a percentage sometimes of people, I guess like in any situation, that just don't leave. So this is day 3, which is kind of crazy to think about that because I remember I don't even think I covered this on day 1. I was just thinking, okay, they resolve it. They even sent people back, I think. Was it day 1 or day 2? They sent people back because they thought, okay, it's the situation is under control. And it's not. 40,000 people evacuated, 40,000 plus across Garden Grove, Stanton, Cypress, Buena Park, and parts of Anaheim and Westminster. There is 4 evacuation centers, I believe, last I saw. They say air quality monitoring is ongoing. Um, what else were they saying here? So there's the thing that I mentioned earlier. So we got the 34,000 gallon tank. Maybe I could show. We'll come back to this guy. I want to show some footage they just had on now. Show this. Um, there's a 34,000 gallon tank that is about 6 to 7,000 gallons left. I guess this stuff is leaked out or whatever's happened to the other amount of gallons. There's about 6 to 7,000 gallons left inside of the 34,000 gallon tank. And it's in full crisis mode. It's overheating. The valve is inoperable because people were yesterday like, oh well, can't they just shut off the valve or can't they like cut off the thing or can't do this and that or whatever? It was bulging at some point too, which is pretty crazy. Like it was full of so much pressure that it was like expanding at some point. And then they're also talking about, which was mentioned today, this 15,000 gallon tank right by it, which they're trying to figure out maybe they can neutralize it or stabilize it with a chemical inhibitor because it's possible if this thing blows up, it could have a chain reaction and those other tanks could blow up too. Um, so they're saying it's rising 1 Fahrenheit per hour. They confirmed, I think they said it was 90 or 91. It's been rising slowly. They believe because they've been putting all this water that maybe it slowed the process. When it says cure at a slower rate, which I didn't understand that, the chemical methacrylate, it starts undergoing something called polymerization reaction. Basically, the liquid is slowing into solid acrylic plastic, the same stuff used on airplane windows and canopies. The reaction is exothermic, so it generates its own heat as it happens, like epoxy or concrete gets hot when it hardens. The heavy water deluge, constant spraying of the hose and sprinklers cools the outside of the tank. The cooling slows down the chemical reaction inside. So that's why they say it's curing at a slower rate. The chemical reaction, they believe it's like slowing down because of the water. And so a slower reaction means less heat generated per hour, slower pressure buildup inside the tank. The only thing is, I don't know where that pressure is going in the tank. I mean, unless it's just goes away as it converts. I don't know. And so the empty space that we're talking about in the tank as well, it says it creates more, the liquid inside reacts and expands, creates more vapor. The empty space can absorb some of the extra pressure without the tank walls rupturing. So that could be a good thing also for the tank, for the whole situation. This was ABC7. They had just posted this a little bit ago. Make myself smaller. You can see the hose here, which is automated. It's like a robot. It's not there's not somebody controlling it in there in person. I guess we don't have audio for this. Audio. No audio here. Let's see if I can find it somewhere else. With audio. Oh, this is a good website. So yeah, state of emergency just declared by Governor Newsom. Well, this might be it here. Oh yeah, this is it. No audio though. Citizen. Yeah, I got a citizen alert about this. So, additionally, the OCFA has begun triaging solutions in case of a rupture without an explosion. There's a team of chemical experts on a plan, and they took the offensive overnight. An average of 1 degree per hour. I wonder what's I don't know, the temperature that it, I don't know, explodes or becomes combustible or whatever. They're at 90, 91. It's wild. Oh yeah, let me check out what KWNY upstate. Thank you so much for the 5. Because media reports are useless. They just report the non-information the officials say instead of asking real questions to figure out what happened. I know I guess we still don't know, right? What caused this? What happened? JD Vance was rushed back to the White House. What happened? Governor Newsom, yeah. I'm proclaiming a state of emergency in Orange County as California continues to respond. Okay. State of emergency. Let's check out this clip. Layla, okay, thank you. I'm gonna check that out.
Disaster. 40,000 officials in Southern California are racing to solve a toxic chemical crisis that could cause an unprecedented industrial disaster. 40,000 people have been ordered to evacuate an area not far from Disneyland. Max Gordon has the latest live from our Los Angeles newsroom on this. Max, good afternoon.
Hey, Molly. Well, just in the past few minutes, California Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency for Orange County. Tens of thousands of people evacuated in case this tank blows up. This chemical tank emergency is happening at GKN Aerospace in Garden Grove, California, a facility that builds airplane parts. The large storage tank contains methacrylate, a volatile inflammable plastic epoxy. The tank is holding about 7,000 gallons of the chemical and is overheating, and fire officials say that it's in danger of leaking or exploding. Firefighters have been trying to lower the temperature of the tank by pouring water on it, and they've constructed also containment barriers around the site. A faulty valve on the tank has kept emergency responders from being able to offload the chemical or introduce a stabilizer. Experts from around the state and country have been consulted, but lowering the temperature and avoiding a tank breach is proving to be tricky. In at last update, the temperature inside appears to be rising. Fire officials say that they've been trying to think creatively on how to keep the tank from exploding.
Letting this thing just fail and blow up is unacceptable to us. Our goal is to find something and not allow that happen, not to let it damage our community, not let it damage our environment. That's unacceptable.
2 other nearby tanks filled with chemicals are also being dealt with to lessen the chances of a chain reaction if there is an explosion. One adjacent tank is being offloaded and neutralizing chemicals are going into the other. Meanwhile, officials are monitoring air quality. Currently, there are no gas leaks or toxic plumes. No injuries have been reported either. Evacuation.
So, Layla sent me a post from a guy on X where he said someone just asked me, so at what point does it explode? I had to Google it, and here's its answer. The immediate trigger, 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the critical baseline. 100 degrees Celsius is the exact boiling point of methacrylate. Since the tank in Garden Grove has climbed up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, approximately 32 degrees Celsius, it continues to steadily rise. It is creeping closer to the active boiling phase. Hmm. The runway or runaway threshold, MMA, is highly exothermic, meaning it creates its own heat as it converts from liquid monomer into solid polymer. If the temperature hits a point where the heat generated inside outpaces the cooling capacity of the exterior water streams, it enters thermal runway. At that stage, the temperature spikes exponentially on its own and rapidly vaporizing the liquid into a massive volume of gas. Oh shit. Hmm. Somebody asked Grok to predict. Well, he said he can't predict. Hmm. If it's rising at 1 degree Fahrenheit per hour, steady rate of assumption from 90 to MMA's boiling point of 212 Fahrenheit at a constant 1 per hour, 5 days. But exothermic runway and polymerization pressure buildup could cause rupture or explosion much sooner, hours or days, if cooling fails. They're saying Garden Grove weather, mild 70s Fahrenheit highs, cooler nights next 10 days. Shit, if this was in Florida, the thing would have been blown up already. Though it's been so hot over here. It's very, I mean, they're very, very lucky that they were able to get these people out and evacuate them. Um, Let me see what else they're saying here. That's crazy, man. Like this thing, I did not expect it to be going on for so long. Damn. Yeah, there's been stuff historically, explosions and stuff that have wiped out places or cities. There was one called the Apu explosion, September 21st, 1921, Apu, Germany. It was at a BASF chemical plant. Workers used small dynamite charges to loosen a huge silo containing 4,500 tons of ammonium sulfate nitrate fertilizer. One blast triggered a mass detonation of the entire silo, killed 500 to 600 people and injured 2,000. 6,500 people left homeless. Holy shit. I don't think I wonder what the damages would be. Like if this thing explodes, is it just like a chemical kind of thing? You're inhaling it, irritant. Like, how long does this stuff last? The chemicals, like on the surface. If it explodes, how long after can people go back to their homes? Yeah. Texas City disaster, April 16, 1947. A fire on a ship, the SS Grand Camp, docked on the port, ignited 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate fertilizer. It detonated a chain reaction explosion, setting off other ships and nearby chemical plants, killing 581 people total. Damn. Fire diamonds was pretty dangerous. Mm. Upstate says bulging, meaning the pressure exceeded the yield strength of the metal. It can stretch until it's too thin and hold pressure, then explode. Mel, can't they put a cement dome over the helicopter? Blast proof dome from military engineer? I don't know. I don't know if they should. I wonder if they would have some kind of technology where they could just fly over and drop something on something that would completely neutralize it. Some kind of, I don't know, chemical. I don't know if a dome would do it. Maybe. I don't know if a helicopter could carry a dome big enough to do that. Yo, that's crazy. There was a in 1984 Bhopal gas tragedy, not a pure explosion, but a massive toxic chemical leak, methyl isocyanate from a Union Carbide plant killed 3,700 to 16,000 immediately and hundreds of thousands of long term. I don't foresee that being like this bad with this situation, but we don't know. Oh yeah, let's do this because they had some information.
Scenario possible with regards to this tank containing about 6,000 to 7,000 gallons of a toxic plastic chemical that's very highly flammable as well. The additional part to all of this that complicate things are the two other tanks that are located in there. While those tanks are not failing, they contain 30-something thousand additional gallons of the same toxic chemicals. So we are watching everything. The situation remains very fluid. Just minutes ago, the governor signed a declaration of state of emergency, which is a good thing because that provides the resources that the residents needs here and also the resources for the county officials and the first responders. They will be able to get additional help at the state level. I've asked the mayor of La Palma, Mayor Patel, to join me here today because in his districts, he's hosting one of the evacuation sites. And very grateful to you, Mayor, for opening up the site out here in your city, and wanted to let you speak about the hardships that the residents are facing right now and some of the concerns. And as we open up the discussion for questions from all of you, we'll give you an opportunity to address either myself or the mayor. So, Mr. Mayor.
Well, thank you very much, Congressman Tran. We were able to mobilize with American Red Cross, the facility at about 1 a.m. last night in conjunction with Anaheim Union School District and Assistant Superintendent Nancy Nguyen that was working with us to be able to open this facility. We're here to serve our community and our neighboring communities. I think that's the main priority is during these difficult times is to provide a place that they can still call home away from home, make them feel as comfortable as they can. Today, we're going to be providing lunch for them. I know Congressman Derek Tran was able to bring some snacks. We have our local restaurant, Pepe's, who has donated graciously all the burritos and food for them here too. Again, our main priority is to make sure that they have a safe environment. Our police is patrolling and our city staff is continuously monitoring along with Orange County Fire Authority.
Yeah, and with that, I'll add that it's been important for me and the mayor. I've been visiting all of the evacuation sites, just making sure that the community knows that we are there for them, and we're listening to those concerns that they have. And perhaps the largest question that they have, and I'm sure some of you are going to ask at some point, is when will they be able to move back in? The answer is we don't know. And
yeah, that's the thing too. I feel so bad for those people. I can imagine if I had to just upend myself, I guess that's the way they say too. People say you should have a go bag. Like a bag, I guess, with, I don't know, maybe your most important stuff that if you just have to get up and run, you go. Because, okay, they did a state of emergency. Is there any support for these people that have had to evacuate? How long does it take for that to kick in? Maybe they could go stay with a friend. Maybe they could go stay with family. Or maybe they have nobody. Oh, they have the centers, I guess. I guess that's the centers. I guess you can sleep there. I should look into what the centers entail. I guess they have the centers if you have to go stay somewhere, I guess, and have no choice. Reminds me of COVID, those centers, I guess. Was it COVID that did that? Or am I thinking of hurricanes? Maybe hurricanes. And did those people take their dogs with them or pets or whatever? What about if you have fish or I don't know?
And Orange County Fire Authority is the responding agency right now. At the morning briefing that we were given, there is no timeline for any of the residents to move back in. Safety is paramount. I am urging all of the residents within the affected area to make sure they evacuate per the lawful direction of our PD. And with that, why don't we open it up to some questions? That way, you all can ask what you need and get the information from us.
All right, our first question.
Representative Tran, Alex Rozier with NB.
Alex, we're gonna use the raise hand feature, and we're gonna do this in an orderly.
What the hell? Somebody's crashing out on the thing, on the call?
Hi there, Nick Garcia from Fox 11. I'm hearing from people who say that they may have been exposed and are experiencing symptoms. So, Congressman, have you heard that, or can you say and share anything about that?
Nick, thanks for the question. I have not heard that. I urge anyone who's suffering from any type of symptoms to seek help, medical help right away. Either go through their primary or go to the hospital. And if they're feeling ill, they should definitely seek help. And you know what? The county also has a hotline number that we're going to put up, that you guys can get out there with your outlets, that these residents know that they can call and report that they're not feeling well. That way we can start tracking and monitoring all of this.
That's crazy. So supposedly, and I wonder what symptoms, reportedly, some people are saying they have symptoms already. There was a video yesterday from the New York Post that had said that something like, it's already up in the air flying, or it's raining chemicals. I don't know if that's true. It leaked. They had to go somewhere, I guess, right? Where happened to all the other gallons? No. Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. You're overreacting. Because remember, they sent people back home at first. They said, it's okay to go back home. They went back home. And they're like, no, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here. You gotta evacuate.
All right, we're gonna go to Sean Emery at OC Register next. Reminder, if you have a question, please use the raise hand feature. All right, Sean, please.
Sorry about that. Thank you very much. Obviously, there's been a lot of potential outcomes that the fire crews have talked about that could come from this, and they're trying to head off, up to including a crack and a leak or an explosion. Can you talk a little bit about what kind of contingency plans are being considered if some of these kind of more potentially catastrophic outcomes were to come to place?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, Sean, but I am going to defer to the Orange County Fire Authority. What they've been telling us in our briefings, one I had last night when I got back in from DC, when I made it to the incident post, and one this morning, is that they are planning for every contingency possible. And that's what they're telling us. That's what they're telling all the electeds out there. I suspect with the fact that the governor has now declared a state of emergency, a lot more resources are going to be coming in from the state level that's going to help with this. But they are the better entity and agency to respond to your question.
Thank you. We're going to go to Alex Rozier next.
I mean, the temperature increase that they're talking about, I guess it's significant, especially at 1 Fahrenheit per hour. 1 Fahrenheit per hour. It said that it increased from 77 degrees on Friday to 90. And that's because the drones were only able to read the external temperature of the tank. And I guess that's not the most accurate. That's not the internal temperature of the tank. Wow.
Hi, Representative Alex Rose here with NBCLA. What are you doing to ensure, or I'll ask.
Yeah, Alex, I think the primary priority for everyone right now is the health and safety of the residents and the first responders. I had a chance to speak to the president of their company yesterday, and I shared with him that I'm not happy about what's happening right now, but I need the company to focus on making sure that they help with the response, that they help with any of the engineering questions that are related to the manufacturing and the installation and inspection of the tank. That's something that everyone's concerned about, and that's everyone's top priority. And I also let them know that the displacement of all these residents and the use of all of the resources locally is very expensive. So I expect that the company needs to step up and take ownership of this. And right now it's too early for anything other than working on the safety and priority of making sure that we knock out the tank exposure and mitigate that before we talk about anything else. But I am calling for a deep investigation of what happened.
So in the chat, Craft, thank you for the super chat, says my mom's office is on Valley View. Ex Chapman got evacuated yesterday. She lives just outside of the zone. Also, my lady is an EMT. They're being told something different. A quarter-mile surrounding area will be gone if it explodes. Damn. But that's what. Oh, and somebody commented under there, Hulla Baloo. Yes, I've heard this too. I live 1.5 miles south of the tanks, just past the 405. My neighbors are evacuating and I'm ready to go. No fruity smell yet. That's what they said. Like the smell. I thought they said, we talked about it yesterday, some type of odor. Oh, like a fruity. But I smelled a little last night. Damn. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If this was me, and like I said yesterday, even if I was just like a little bit outside of the zone, if I could, I know everybody can't just up and leave. You know, a lot of people have different situations. But if I could, I'd probably, for the weekend, take off. You know what I'm saying? Go stay with family, or if you can, whatever. Just a little more distance, just to be safe, if possible. You know?
All right, we're going to go to Jill Rapogel next at NPR.
Yeah, the wind. That's the other thing, too, they were talking about. The wind, you know, that could carry this chemical, depending on the weather, I guess.
Hi, Congressman Tran. Thanks for doing this. 2 questions, if I may. First, have you had conversations with FEMA about providing support? And second, if you know, I've seen a few estimates of how many people did not evacuate, and I'm wondering if you know, and if there are still efforts to get people out who have not evacuated.
Yeah, 100%, Jill. Let me answer you your first question. Yes, I've been in contact, and my office has been in contact with FEMA. They are fully aware. Unfortunately, they cannot activate until there is a federal disaster and emergency declared, and the president signs off on it. So right now, they're on standby. They are fully aware of what's happening on site. I can also tell you that the EPA is on site, sending 2 of their observers out here with a team that's kind of monitoring, tracking as well. So from a federal standpoint, we have some resources out here, and that's a good thing because we're being proactive about this instead of reactive. And then from the second part of your question deals with. Can you remind me, Jill?
Yeah. Sorry. Whether you're aware if there are still people in
evacuation. As of last night, I was told by PD, Garden Grove PD, who's been the main point of contact and agency leading the evacuation, that about 15% of the residents are refusing to evacuate. So we're doing everything we can to make sure that everyone in the community understands that this is not a drill. This is very serious. People need to take their life and safety seriously and evacuate per the lawful evacuation order. I'm asking the universities like Cal State Fullerton to blast out on email to their students if they have family in the area to get them out. And I know all of the electeds and local agencies as well. We're continuing to push out messaging.
Recording stopped.
To make sure that everyone gets out of that area.
Yeah, that 15% is the number I heard last night as well. And it makes me think of like other, you know, uh, worldly disaster situations like hurricanes where people don't evacuate. There was only one hurricane for me since I've been here in Florida that was like kind of like, oh shit, like it could get real. Like the hurricane was literally covering the entire map of Florida. And I was working at the hospital at the time, and the hospital has this thing where you have to alternate. Are you during hurricanes or are you after hurricanes? And I had just had my daughter, and I'm like, there's no way I'm not going to be there for my daughter if something happens. I think she was too young. There's a certain age you can bring your kids, I think, and family, but she was too young for that. So they, they told me, whatever. I didn't do it. Even though when you work during, you make a lot of good money. Like you get paid for sleeping, you get paid whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't do it. So I did after. And I remember I left because I used to live by the beach that time, like pretty close to the beach. I left and I went to my aunt's house, which was more west, but I didn't evacuate. But a lot of people were trying to evacuate Florida. People were getting stuck on the highway. It was insane. And it ended up not being what it was, or they said it was going to be. But like, there's been other hurricanes where it's like they're telling you Miami's going to get destroyed. And there's people like, I'm not leaving. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. Oh, my pets or this and that, or I've lived there for so long, or I don't want to be inconvenienced. I would tell you with this, if you were my friend, if I knew you personally, I would say leave, evacuate in case, because you don't know the long-term effects that this thing could have or short-term effects. You could, who knows, you could be suffering for a very long time. There's people that with chemicals and radiation have been suffering their whole life. They say the symptoms for this methacrylate says here, if you breathe in the vapors, burning or irritation in the nose, throats, lungs, coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath, chest tightness, runny nose or sore throat, your eyes, redness, burning, tearing, pain, or blurred vision. Skin, if strong vapor or liquid touches it, redness, itching, burning, rash, or cracking. Neurological, they said it actually causes drunk-like effects, headache, dizziness, lightheadedness, nausea, fatigue, irritability, difficulty concentrating. If you get really high exposure, it's a severe shortness of breath or fluid in the lungs, drowsiness or confusion. In rare cases, longer term or repeated exposure have been linked to asthma like symptoms or respiratory sensitization. So, oh, and then the odor. We were talking about the odor. I read this yesterday and someone in the chat just said it. There's like they say if you smell it, it's like a sharp, fruity odor. Acrid, fruity odor, distinctive, sharp, fruity odor, fruity, pungent odor. That's what it's described as. I mean, knowing me, if I lived there and I knew that that's what it smelled like, I'd probably be smelling that everywhere. Just like, oh shit, that's it. Okay, crafts. Thank you for the super chat. My older brother lives in an apartment. He is handicapped. Oh, he went to my mom's house and has been feeling sick. Seal breach naval base allows the wind from the ocean to blow inland. I grew off Lamson behind the Los Angeles military base. Damn. That's true too. There's people. I remember there was like a horrible situation here in South Florida where it was across the street from a hospital that I used to work in. They had like it was like a place for elderly people, I guess. What am I thinking of? Those homes. I think it was those homes, or I don't know what it was. And I don't know what happened. They left the people there. The power went out. Something happened. A lot of those people died. Nobody came to help them. I think the power went out and then a lot of them died. Some of them were taken out. I'd have to look it up.
All right, we have time for one more question. If anyone else has a question, otherwise we'll wrap up. All right, seeing none, thank you all. Oh, Demia?
Hi. Yeah, hi. I'm Demiana with the Daily Titan over at Cal State Fullerton. Thank you guys.
I was wondering, there's a lot of information about evacuation sites and reunification centers, like on the socials of OCFA, but in your communications with them, would you know when or how long in advance we would know about a potential explosion or leak?
I honestly don't think there would be any advance notice. It would happen. Maybe if they test the temperatures and they're like, oh, it's getting closer and closer to that point, I think it would just happen.
I'm sorry, like when we
yeah, within your conversations with the fire authorities, how do you know how far in advance we would know about any like updates to the situation?
Eyewitness News. Not how folks wanted to start their holiday weekend. Thank you, Monica. We're all learning about this chemical involved. It's actually called methacrylate. Firefighters warning that the chemical could be harmful to your health.
It's a respiratory irritant, so it can start off very mild, but it can progress to a point where, yes, you would probably require hospitalization, if not more.
Chemical is also highly flammable. It's also explosive. It's used for shatter-resistant acrylic glass, paint, and adhesives. Major health organizations, including the EPA, says the chemical not likely to cause cancer in humans, but
not likely.
Abrupt contact can potentially damage more than your lungs and your skin. It could affect all your organs.
Now, the weather could also play a big role in how this hazmat situation unfolds if an and Carly, you've been tracking all of this.
Right, and we've been watching the winds. That'll be the biggest factor in all of this alongside the clouds. Now, overnight, the winds usually shift from east to west. During the day, the onshore flow takes over west to east. We're currently now in that situation. The winds coming in out of the west, and we know just right about there, that is where we're seeing where that location is, and the winds would be pushing any toxic fumes toward areas of Cypress, Buena Park, and then potentially even Anaheim by the afternoon hours. Now, if you get a backed up look at this, you can see the ocean pushes those winds from the west, and then they start moving east. So anything downwind of that location where that hazmat situation is, we'll be seeing potentially those vapors in their area. Of course, this is outlined for that specific zone. They're hoping those fumes just remain around that area and that radius. Now, our fog forecast really showing also the marine layer. Early in the morning, we're starting to see that dissipate just a bit, but overnight, more of the marine layer form.
Okay, let me I'm gonna get your super chat. Fox 11 is they're at the scene too. Let's do that. Let's they're live now too. Let's get Fox 11 just up. You can have a live look at what it looks like right now, and then I'll get your super chat. Okay. Let's see. NC Kelly, thank you for the super chat. Sent you an email about a crazy story that happened here. That's North Carolina, I think. I don't even know how to. I always feel like I'm mispronouncing that. Raleigh. I live near a nuclear plant. We have monthly siren tests. Scares me that it could blow up, but I'd rather go quick than suffer. Damn, you live by a nuclear tank or plant? Is there benefits to that? Is there perks? Is it like cheaper house? Like you get a discount or something? That's crazy, man. I would have a lot of anxiety with that. Hell nah. I think I saw something yesterday. I haven't read the email that you sent me. I don't know if it's that or a different story. I'm gonna look it up. You live by a chemical plant too, Layla? That does monthly sirens? Damn, are you guys worried about you're gonna get like, I don't know, long-term effects? Thank you for subscribing, guys. Appreciate it. ivermectin. I had a really good website, I think, too, with updates somewhere. I wonder too, like the process of like keeping these pumps of water going nonstop. I guess they can't stop. In the Palisades, they like ran out of water. Now we have like an unlimited supply, 24/7, round the clock. This is day 3, I think. Oh, here it is. Let me refresh this. Forced from their home, they struggle to find a hotel that takes cats. Well, that's the other thing I was wondering about. Some of these hotels don't want to take animals, or if they do, there's a fee. Uh, this lady, Yosha Nakashini, 79 years old, sat at a table outside of Cypress Community Center with his two cats, Melon and Mocha, peering out of the carriers. He and his girlfriend and her son stayed at a hotel near Disneyland land last night. It was pricey, totally totaling around 350 for 2 rooms to house them and their cats. And parking was another $30 for each of their cats. What? And parking was another $30 for each of their cats or cars. I can't read shit. It was a struggle for them to find a hotel that allowed pets, but his girlfriend's girlfriend's son eventually found it. We checked out and stopped here to see what's going on. We don't know what we'll do. The son said that the girlfriend's son said the cats had completely different reactions to their new surroundings last night. Mocha enjoyed the hotel, but Melon was frightened. I mean, that happens with these cats when you move into a new place. I'm wondering, like, what do those centers look like? Nonstop, 24/7, 24/7, round the clock pumping with water. Hoop the tap water, hopefully. So the timeline they have here, this article has a timeline. It started Thursday, 3:22 p.m. The Orange County Fire Authority responded to reports of a hazardous materials incident. When they arrived, they determined that methacrylate, a volatile liquid used to make plastic, was leaking out of the 34,000 gallon vat. 5:46 p.m., they announced evacuations out of abundance of caution. 7:11 p.m., the tank heated up and set off a release valve. Wow. Which triggered a safety sprinkler system to cool the tank. Vapor conditions have since improved, indicating the temperature is decreasing. So they have some system in place, I guess, when things go wrong. And that's pretty bad, I guess, to trigger the release valve. 8:39 p.m., evacuations are lifted from most areas and returning our community to safely to their homes. So they sent them back home at 8:39 p.m. on Thursday. Then Friday morning at 6:16 a.m., they reissued the evacuations, and now for a wider area than the previous day. Let's see. They thought they made progress. They released a video explaining the situation. On, let's see, Friday night, they did an update, the final update for the night. They said the great news is our efforts so far have continued to cool a tank. It's down to a temperature of around 61 degrees. The goal is 50 degrees. And Saturday, they said that the tank had actually worsened and the failing tank is at 90 degrees today from 77. Wow. The boiling point of the chemical inside of the tank is 101 degrees Celsius. And the gauge only detects temperatures of up to 100 degrees. Oh, here's a picture of the center, I guess. Let me show you guys. I guess this is what it looks like. It's just kind of basic, you know. There's some, I guess, cots to lay on and sleep on, I guess. I guess it's bring your own supplies. I don't know. Do they provide dinner and drinks and food, or you know? No. Apparently, the residents are frustrated over the lack of updates too. Mini Godzilla. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I wouldn't be hanging around here waiting, you know. It sucks though, man, because if I had to get up and leave, it would suck. I wouldn't be able to do anything, really, I guess. Oh, they did some new update. They just posted a new thing 30 minutes ago. Let me check this out. OCFA.
Hello, my name is Nick Freeman. I'm a division chief with the Orange County Fire Authority and serving as the Hazmat branch on the Western Incident in the city of Garden Grove, California. I wanted to briefly talk to you guys about our evacuation zones that we discussed yesterday in our press conference, and to give you some visual representation of those evacuation zones and why we've put those zones into place. If I step over here to our map, you'll see a variety of different shapes. You'll see our circles and then our oblong shapes. Those represent different things. Our circles represent our blast zone. So if this tank fails and we have an explosion, these represent our blast zone. The innermost circle represents areas where we can expect severe.
I want to see if they have better quality, because you can't really even see it. Hold on a second. Do they have a YouTube page? It's all blurry. This is our blast zone where you might get blown the F up. Like, I think we need to clearly see the map. What the? Damn. They have a page, YouTube page, but no, they didn't post anything. Let me try Facebook. Can't even see the shit. Orange County Fire Authority. Okay. Yeah, I think Facebook does look better. Let's try that. Let's try that, because we need to be able to see what the guy's talking about.
Hello, my name is.
Oh god, it's a little better. Try that again.
Hello, my name is Nick Freeman. I'm a division chief with the Orange County Fire Authority and serving as the Hazmat branch on the Western Incident in the city of Garden Grove, California. I wanted to briefly talk to you guys about our evacuation zones that we discussed yesterday in our press conference, and to give you some visual representation of those evacuation zones and why we've put those zones into place. If I step over here to our map, you'll see a variety of different shapes. You'll see our circles and then our oblong shapes. Those represent different things. Our circles represent our blast zone. So if this tank fails and we have an explosion, these represent our blast zone. The innermost circle represents areas where we can expect severe structural damage and significant harm. The next ring out is our moderate blast damage. We would expect, again, structural damage and harm to those within that zone. And then our third layer is our light blast damage, where we might see some structural damage, but it would be a little bit more limited. As we move up to our oblong shapes, you have three represented. Our red up here indicates areas of flammability where we could have fire or flash fire in those zones. Beyond that, you'll see an orange oblong. That represents areas that are immediately dangerous to life and health, where it would cause injury if anybody inhales or is impacted.
I muted myself, sorry. I wanted to make it a little bit bigger, and what I'm kind of realizing is that, look, okay, we got the blast zone here, the severe damage blast zone, and then the moderate damage, and then the light damage. And it's like that person was talking about earlier, that there is, I guess, obviously going to be a radius of where there's going to be destruction. But then, like, I didn't even realize, like, what is this over here? So he's saying, like, what's this beam of energy and light shooting out? I'm going to play that again.
On that, you'll see an orange oblong. That represents areas that are immediately dangerous to life and health, where it would cause, we could have fire or flash fire in those zones. Beyond that, you'll see an orange oblong. That represents areas that are immediately dangerous to life and health, where it would cause injury if anybody inhales or is impacted by the product in question. And then the yellow is our non-hazardous zone, which is our odor threshold. This product has a very low odor threshold and can be smelt very easily. So that's why that representation is very large. But again, it is non-hazardous at that level. We've also indicated some daily wind.
They say you can smell it from that distance, but it's non-hazardous. You could just breathe it in. What?
Shifts that can and will occur throughout the incident, and we are constantly modeling our wind and weather throughout the incident, as we expect our weathers to consistently change from day to night. That concludes my overview of our maps.
Hi, my name is Dr. Regina Chincio-Kwong. I otherwise go by Dr. CK. I'm your county health officer. And I know you just learned about our different evacuation zones from Chief Freeman, but I want to talk about the health concerns you may all have about what that all means when it comes to this diagram. So this diagram shows you the evacuation zone that was carefully selected, taking into consideration worst case scenario. If you are not in the evacuation zone in red here, you do not need to worry. Just stay informed with any updates that you see. Now, if you remain in the evacuation zone, that's where your risk increases. And as Chief Freeman had mentioned, there are different blast zones that we're taking into consideration. And yes, there are other areas that where we worry about some of the vapors that can come from the substance. Now, MMA does have a very strong fruity odor, and smelling it doesn't mean that it will have health impacts. We actually do know that when you smell it, you don't typically have symptoms, and when you actually measure the levels in the air, it doesn't mean it's dangerous. So I know that there is a segment here that shows yellow, that's the area where you might smell it if the chemical actually reacts in a way that it ends up with having vapors in the air. But again, if you are not in the evacuation zone, we don't expect any health impact. So I'm going to say it a different way. I know I'm hearing a lot of things about people wanting to wear masks in and around the area. Again, if you are not in the evacuation zone, you do not need a mask. We have taken all the things into consideration, and this is just thinking about worst case scenario. And this is why we have this evacuation zone. If you were told to evacuate, please evacuate, because we're trying to keep in mind your safety. That's all I have.
I wonder if there's some of the COVID people like, oh, well, we're just going to put on a mask and ride this shit out and sitting inside watching TV in the evacuation zone. That's pretty alarming, though, kind of, I guess. I mean, the blast radius, I guess, makes sense. But, like, even they're saying that it can go further to smell and odor outside of the evacuation area a little bit, I guess. I mean, I don't know how far that goes up. But I guess outside of it, you're fine to smell it. It's non-hazardous. You smell it, there's something you're inhaling, but it's non-hazardous. Your body's telling you there's something, but ignore those what your body's telling you. I don't know, maybe it is what they're saying, but that's like what I said though. If I was here, if it wasn't such an inconvenience, like if I could, even outside of the evacuation zone, which you should evacuate in my opinion, if I was even on the outer edge, I would, if I could, I'd dip out for the weekend. Fuck it. It's a holiday weekend, I'd dip out. You know? Wow. Holy moly. That is interesting. That's interesting. So, I mean, I'm glad they're putting out the information. Yeah, OC Scanner said, please post a digital graphic of the map so we can actually see it. Bro, I don't know. Is this true? Hold on. So somebody on X said this. He said, in the meantime, someone else posted their version of a possible fault. Okay, I don't know if this is accurate then or not, but I guess the yellow thing is the inhalation. How far is that going up there? I wouldn't take that as fact yet or anything, but wow. Let me see if we got what do we have? Where they go? No. Fox is not live there, yeah. I don't have this other stuff. Let me close out this jump. Oh, it just got behind. Okay, there we go. Live. So that's what it looks like now over there. I wonder if those 15% that are chilling back and watching are kind of like, oh shit now, or they're just gonna stay there.
Afternoon, Garden Grove Sports Complex, where people who have been forced out of their homes are gathering tonight. Mac.
Yeah, Colleen and Michael, 40,000 people evacuated. Hundreds of them have come here to the Garden Grove Sports Complex. Take a look behind me. You can see inside the gym area, a lot of folks in the benches here just waiting to see what's going to happen next. I want to talk to Mark Olson. He got evacuated this morning. You heard, how's it going, Mark? Okay. You told us that you got here around 9 o'clock in the morning, but you heard the sirens at 6 a.m. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, at 6:30, I was woken up by the sirens going across our street. Up and down, up and down. I first thought, why are they making this noise? I finally got some sleep. But then I was told that they were evacuating. So grabbed some stuff and got out of there.
You were able to go and get some breakfast, and then you decided to come here around 9:30 this morning. What has it been like since you've been here?
It's been pleasant. The staff is great. They've fed us. They're about to give dinner and a movie. It's just the waiting. Yeah.
The unknown and not knowing exactly how they're going to attack this thing. What do you think about it in terms of how it's going to play out? And how long do you think you might be able to have to wait here?
I just wait. I feel more for my family who I've told what's happening, because I didn't even know anything happened yesterday until my daughter, who lives 600 miles away, said, what is it about that spill? So, they're making arrangements if we have to stay overnight, but it's just frustrating.
I can hear the frustration in your voice, Mark. Thank you very much for talking with us. I do have one more evacuee I want to talk to very quickly. He actually lives very close to the area. Talk to us about what you saw and heard this morning.
So this morning when I woke up, I was getting ready for school, and then my mom was like, why aren't you going to school? And then I told her, there's no school today. And she was like, why? She got mad at me. And then
mama's love. I don't care. There's a chemical leak. Get your ass to school.
When she went to go check it out, and then she got home, and then she told me, you probably shouldn't go to school today. And then my friend told me, do you want to go to the rec room with us, because that's where they're telling us to go. And then my friend's right there. And then
what has it been like for you here? Because you've been here since about noon today, right?
Yeah. I just walked around. There's not much to do here, but it's safe. So.
That's the most important thing. Tim, thanks so much for talking with us. His family among the hundreds here because it is a safe point right now.
I wonder what's going on. Is there anything particular going on here with the live feed? Cops moving around? Are they expanding the zones or something?
Not knowing exactly how they're going to address this issue has certainly kept a lot of these folks on edge. And you heard from Mark there, just frustrated, not knowing exactly when they might be able to go back home. We're live at the Garden Grove Sports Complex. Back to you.
All right, Mac, thank you.
Front door open.
Give me a second. I guess I got a delivery. I don't know. I wonder if something's happening. Because we were watching live over the evacuation area. No audio. Trespassing? What's going on? Hey, a homeless person? What the? I don't know what they're doing. I guess kicking them out, yeah. Well, let me see if I can find what we got going on. Find some other feeds if possible.
Grandpa Gus.
I wonder. Oh, there's people there. I wonder if he's in the evacuation zone. Mm. Pulling up other feeds right now. Let's see. Oh yeah, he's in the area. Oh, is there a chase right now? Is that chase?
With their airship only, but I am
Oh, it's a
hearing that they're
chase.
trying to get the California Highway Patrol to take over
Whoa,
because
whoa,
the
whoa,
chase
whoa, whoa.
just jumped on the freeway from
Poppy.
surface streets. Now the vehicle is that white Kia Soul that you see
Whoa,
in the
whoa,
center
whoa,
of
whoa,
the
whoa,
shot,
Poppy.
clocking speeds up to 95 miles an hour, and the WA is stolen.
Birthday chase. Let's get it, baby. Birthday chase. Oh.
Working on a weekend like
So
usual.
we first actually heard about this in
Oh.
the LAPD's jurisdiction. We heard about it in the South LA region
Birthday
of
chase.
the city of Los Angeles with the LAPD behind it. But they had actually let go of the pursuit because the guy was driving quite recklessly.
shit.
But the airship actually kept an eye on him for officer safety reasons. And that is when the LA
Kia
County
boys.
Sheriff's Department started chasing. But just a few minutes ago here, he jumped on the 91 West. So that's going to bring you in yet another police agency.
Oh
and that's
no,
gonna be
no,
the
no, no, no,
California
no,
Highway
no, no, no.
Patrol.
Hold on,
Again,
hold
the
on.
Y is stolen vehicle.
Bro, I'm looking at this shit. Look at the screen. That shit says recorded 8/16/2024. What the hell? Case is on. Why are they playing that? Is that right? It says recorded on 8/16/2024. What the bro, the news is something else. Okay, let's switch it back. Oh, I got excited. I was like, oh man, we got a chase. Why would they do that? I guess just to put something on, I guess. Inside update. No, Craftsman, you think so? Craftsman believes inside update expected to explode 2 hours ago. They have 2 possible missions, but also possible sacrifice missions. Damn, bro. I never seen the news doing that before. Just popping up full chases from years ago. Wow. Mamma mia. Okay. Got trolled. They did that on purpose. They know I'm streaming it. CBS.
For peace. This is a small town.
Fox. Oh. Oh, yeah, we're watching that. We got Fox already. Okay. I think we have everything covered as far as feeds. This is the live one right now. Jojo, thank you. Damn. I'm gonna leak today. I want to know what the people out there think. The people that live out there. Oh. toxicology expert.
As our coverage from Garden Grove continues, we want to bring in the Dunya Elevator, who's covering this story for NBC4.
All right, Dunya, you just spoke with somebody who's a toxicology expert about the chemical in the tank. We know it's flammable. Is that the main concern here?
Yeah, she said the main concern, and she's seen it from the outside.
Probably as early as next month. And as a result of that filing, well, it gave us a look under their financial hood for the very first time. We'll get to that in a moment. But first of all, this is going to be huge, potentially the biggest initial public offering ever.
Control. No one has a control over this situation. So what is she's thinking the best bet is what the authorities already said, just to let it leak and let it go and do its course. But the problem with that she's concerned, if there's a little crack or anything on the ground, it go underground and it can really impact the water source, because based on her expertise, this is not something that we're going to see in 2-3 weeks. This is a long-term issue that if this continue going and filtering, we will hear in a few weeks if this went down or it didn't go down underground. But she's also talking about that this is like a bomb. So I don't know if we want to hear what she said.
The unfortunate situation that we have right now is that this particular chemical, which is in liquid, it doesn't have a color, it doesn't have a specific smell like others. However, it's highly explosive and volatile. And because it's closer to other chemical tanks at this moment, because the leak is
They just said it was fruity, though, the smell.
not controlled, it can spill into the other tanks and provoke a highly reactive explosion that will spill into the other tanks, and then this will make a larger.
You see? That's the part that we've kind of talked about, the potential to like other tanks explode.
Colors. However, it's highly explosive and volatile. And because it's closer to other chemical tanks at this moment, because the leak is not controlled, it can spill into the other tanks and provoke a highly reactive explosion that will spill into the other tanks, and then this will make a larger type of blast, almost kind of like a bomb kind of thing, because it will, and that would of course implicate, because anything surrounding it will hit or have debris that can hit other spaces.
So that's what she's saying, but she said that we have to keep thinking about the long-term issue too, and the possibility that whatever already spilled, and if it continues spilling, it goes on the ground.
She didn't say anything about it. If it gets into, let's say a crack gets into the soil, eventually the groundwater, it doesn't dissipate the more it's out of the tank and the further along it gets. She's just hoping they get it cleaned up before it gets to that point.
Yes, that's her hope. But like she said, there's no control. And she was very adamant at repeating to me a couple of times when I asked her about if they do this or they do that. And she's like, there's no control. They can't control this situation as much as they want to, because this chemical, you cannot see it, you cannot smell it, so it can travel in an invisible way.
Of course, and of the two options, they're hoping that
I guess the lady was uninformed, I guess, the expert. Because the other expert, and from what I've been reading online, it has a fruity type of smell. And Vino, thank you so much for the memberships. Appreciate you. And thank you, Floor, for the birthday wishes. Thank you for the membership. I appreciate the support. I live in GG. They have an annual strawberry festival going on with a lot of people attending about 5 miles from this. Damn.
it actually leaks as opposed to explosion.
Yeah.
Dunya, we appreciate it. Thank you.
And the thing with the pump is, I mean, unless I can't see it now, they had two of them. I thought yesterday I saw two water pumps. I just see one right now. Yeah, I see all those RVs in the parking lot. I wonder who are the people that decided to stay. I want to talk to those people. I want to talk to those people. I want to see what they have to say. I don't care. I'm riding this out. It's all a distraction. I don't give a shit. Trying to get a little clip going. Crazy times. Yeah, I haven't seen a hazmat. I mean, I haven't covered one like this. Kind of talked about the potential other tanks explode.
Explosive and however, it's highly.
Yeah, I don't think I've covered another hazmat situation like this where it's gone on for days. And I'm assuming the choppers are at a safe distance, I guess. I'm assuming they are. They can zoom in and have nice cameras. I wonder if they feel any kind of shockwave, but ooh. Yeah, I guess what? There's no other technology too. I guess maybe that's reasonable. Oh, is there the other side? I only see one pump. They can't, I don't know, can't use some kind of technology to freeze it in place or something?
Is forcing tens of thousands of people in Orange County to leave their homes.
CBS LA's Lucelia Caballero has been talking with people at those evacuation centers. Lucelia.
And you know what Michelle Geely is saying is what's causing people not only to be fearful, but also frustrated. It is that uncertainty, the unknown of what will happen next, within the next hour, within the next day. And right now we are here at the Garden Grove Sports and Recreation Center. You can see a few people here just sitting, waiting for dinner. A lot of them, they were honest with us. They said they came with their pets. They came with their essential paperwork, some medication, and those who have pets, their pets, and some pet food, some not even that. So very precarious situation. And those we talked to say they just want to know when they can go home.
It is crazy.
For the second time in less than 24 hours, families in Garden Grove and nearby neighborhoods were forced to pack up and leave.
We know that what we're breathing in right now is toxic. I can smell it.
Several evacuees telling us they're concerned about possible exposure to the chemical fumes and want clearer information from officials.
This reminds me of the burn pits in Iraq. You know, the smell.
Oh, no way.
It's just
what?
ridiculous that we have to just sit here not knowing.
The Orange County Fire Authority reissued evacuation orders Friday morning after changing conditions at the aerospace facility, where a large chemical storage tank began releasing vapors Thursday afternoon. Residents say the back and forth orders have left many confused, exhausted, and worried about their safety.
I had to leave my house on Cypress.
Some evacuees, like Diane Chavira, grabbed only the essentials before heading out.
I was sleeping in my house until this morning when they told us that we had to leave.
So she grabbed her 4 dogs and left, but was disappointed to find the evacuation center at Stanton City Hall and Community Center was closed, adding she's unable to bike all the way to the one in Garden Grove.
I'm just tired. I had a right hip replaced a year ago and it's very hard, you know, because I have no transportation.
Now she and other evacuees we spoke with are trying to figure out where they'll stay and how long they'll be away from home.
The toughest part is not knowing what's happening.
And once again, we are here at Garden Grove Sports and Recreation Center. It's one of 2 evacuation centers that have opened. The other is the Cypress Community Center. The city of Stanton is currently closed. They posted a paper on their door saying that that evacuation center has closed, and that was the one at Stanton City Hall and Community Center. So you can go to one of these two centers that we just mentioned if you are in the affected area. As of now, we are also just waiting to see any update that we receive from the fire authority. I'm going to go ahead and send things back to you.
Thank you, Lucelia. Let's bring
Crazy times we're in.
Refresh for spring.
I'm going to keep looking for some new information. OFCA. State of emergency.
Yesterday after it actually see
I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if they're going to send in the team again to check the temperature in person. I'm not sure why they can't just send a robot. I understand the drone can't, but send a robot to maybe read the thing, or I don't know. Can't do that.
Forever.
Whatever.
All right. An interesting one for sure, Laz.
Yeah. To be sure.
Staff living in the RVs. Imagine. Yeah, the staff living in the RVs. All right, get to work. Take a look at another thing. Tell me. Check citizen. Okay. Citizen just has old clips. Yeah. The last major update was the state of emergency and also the OFCA, which posted a really interesting video.
However, it's highly
Is this thing gonna blow? Yeah, I wonder why they pulled back the other pump. That thing is blasting nonstop. Looks like maybe 3 tanks there. What if they run out of water? Imagine if they run out of water. Oh my God. They cut it off. I'm glad I got to come and do an update, man, because I was thinking about this since last night and then today and wanted to kind of update the details of what's happening. Um, maybe that's it for now. If this shit blows up, I'm jumping on running. Yeah, they got off. Jumping on running. Live updates. Yeah, that sucks for those people. Let me keep checking to see if there's anything else. I think I have notifications too in case anything pops off.
This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
That was what we were handed. A leaking tank or a tank that blows up.
Man.
Breaking news at 9 a.m. on the verge of disaster. Tens of thousands of people in Orange County are being evacuated as a chemical leak at an aerospace plant continues to cause a hazmat crisis. Good morning. I'm Irene Cruz.
And I'm Tim Caputo. We want to bring you the very latest from the ground and in the skies as this delicate situation continues to unfold to start this holiday weekend. Monica de Anda live at one of the evacuation centers in La Palma, speaking with people whose homes are at risk right now. And meteorologist Carly Gomez following this morning's weather and how that could play a role in this dangerous situation.
But first, let's get to Scott Reif in Aero 7, who's over the aerospace plant in Garden Grove. Scott?
Yeah, Irene and Tim, it's terrifying to think that that tank right there could explode. And from what we've heard from authorities, it would be a huge explosion. It's filled with methacrylate. It's a GKN Aviation, a 12,000 block of Western Avenue in Garden Grove, north of the 22. But they've cleared about 6 or 7 blocks in every direction, and they've evacuated 40,000 people just in case this would explode. Now, the hope is that that container is going to collapse or crack, and the chemical, that toxic chemical, will go down into the ground. There won't be an issue except for environmentally right in this area. But if it explodes, all bets are off. That's why the 40,000 people have been evacuated. Now, one of the real concerns is, as we take a look at this from the air, if this is just going to slowly but surely collapse and that chemical is going to ooze out of that tank, it could take hours, days, weeks. We don't see much change in that tank in the entire time that we've taken a look at it. So hopefully that will be the case. It doesn't matter how long it takes for the most part, as long as it does not explode. They're putting as much water on it as possible. Those are automatic water cannons that were set up. The fire department and everyone else has completely left the scene. Tim, Irene?
All right, a scary situation, especially when you see it from above. Thank you, Scott. More than 40,000 people in the area surrounding that incident remains under evacuation orders this morning. New shelters even opened up today after some reached capacity overnight.
Eyewitness News reporter Monica de Anda continues our live team coverage from an evacuation center in La Palma. Monica.
Irene, Tim, good morning. We are just outside of...
Yeah, I'm going to do one more scan and we'll see. If anything, we take a break and come back later for any updates. Let's see. Let's show all the Cali places one more time. All the Cali feeds. Nope.
We worked so hard on it.
Crazy times, man. I don't know what to think anymore. I think everybody got off. ABC is talking about it
in Garden Grove. 40,000 people live within this evac zone that covers the area north of Trask Avenue, south of Ball Road, east of Valley View Street, and west of Dale Street. Small portions of West Anaheim and Cypress are also included in the evacuation zone. Garden Grove Police says they have done reverse 911 calls and gone door to door, urging people to leave. They say right now there's about a 15% refusal rate. Video from Air 7 shows a line of dozens of people waiting to get into a shelter late last night. People have been coming to these evac shelters since they first opened up yesterday. Some of these centers are at capacity, but the Public Information Hotline told us just this morning that it's hard to track which ones are full and which ones still have space because of the fluid situation. Now, we do know a new shelter just opened up today in Huntington Beach, but the shelters aren't just for people. Their four-legged friends are also welcomed. This morning, we've been speaking to people just waking up at these shelters about their experience so far and why having their pet with them has made all the difference. Take a listen.
There's a lot of folks that are elderly and
Yeah, I can't
have a disability
show you guys that.
you know, their dogs are their family or their cats are their family, and so to have them be able to be close to them, you know, in this time when they can't be at home and they're in a
California
in a high school gym. It's an amazing thing how relaxed and calm they are and happy that, you know, it's not an ideal situation, but if they can have their pets with them, it means the world to them.
And here at Kennedy High School, I'm told there's about a dozen dogs and a handful of cats here. And we've seen some of them out here with their owners. They're just happy to be together. As far as...
Okay. Yeah, I think we did good for now. I'm going to take a little time and chill and relax and kind of enjoy some of the day. But I will be around. I will be here. I'll be chilling. If there's anything that pops off crazy or updates with this, I will jump back on. Let me just double check. I should have notifications.
This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
Live.
Good afternoon. I'm Liz Nagy alongside Jory Rand. We're bringing you live breaking coverage of the latest on this chemical leak tank in Garden Grove this afternoon.
Yeah, a lot of people have been paying attention to what's going to happen here. Firefighters
I do. I have two notifications.
GKN Aerospace facility in Garden Grove is still on path to imminent failure. There are two likely outcomes here, as we've been hearing for more than 24 hours from local firefighters. That tank is likely going to spill thousands of gallons of highly toxic chemicals, or it could explode. And I just spoke with a professor who we'll hear from shortly, saying that that is the worst of two options. You do not want this to ignite and spread those toxic smoke fumes mixed with that gas. The best case scenario between the two is the spill, which in itself has quite a few problems.
And for anyone who's outside right now knows it is getting hot outside. That is only making conditions all the more volatile. You are looking at pictures right now live from Air 7 streaming over the situation in Garden Grove. The fire authority says a crew went into the site overnight despite those life-threatening conditions. That crew was able to see an internal temperature gauge. The incident commander says the temperature has now been rising about 1 degree per hour since Thursday morning. Authorities are preparing for the tank to fail, as well as trying to speak with experts from across the country, in some cases from around the world, to find any alternative solutions. Governor Gavin Newsom just this afternoon has now declared a state of emergency in Orange County. That makes additional state resources and shelter sites available for people who are in such desperate need of a place to stay right now because they had to leave their homes with a moment's notice yesterday.
And what do? You're living with this situation. You don't know when you can get home. You don't know how bad this is going to be. We don't know how far this potential toxic plume could travel. So many people at risk right now. This morning, the Orange County Fire Authority did address this situation here. Just when first responders thought things were getting better, the temperature we saw last night, we reported at 11 o'clock, was lowering down to 60 degrees. It has since risen back up again.
50 degrees, they say, is the sweet spot. That is where they want, right, the happy place they kept referring to, of where they want this tank to be. It is now creeping up, well 90, above 70 degrees.
Up to 90 degrees today. So it is rising. It is getting hotter. And as we learned today, the hotter it gets, the faster that temperature increases. Take a listen to what they had to say today.
We made a call last night to go back offensive. We've been defensive this whole time out of life risk and our hazard of the explosion. Going back offensive, we did put people in harm's way last night with support of the chemist team, that emergency response team, and our members. We did put them back in harm's way last night with an attempt to go in and neutralize the additional tank, the 15,000 gallon tank. We want to neutralize that product to remove its explosive potential should the 7,000 gallon tank blow up. So when the members went in there, they were able to go see the gauge that's being covered by water. You can't see it from a distance. You can't see it from a drone. They were able to go in there and see the gauge and actually see what the internal temperature is of this tank that's having issues. Unfortunately, I do have to report that the temperature was 90 degrees. Yesterday morning, it was 77 degrees when we backed out. It's been averaging about a degree an hour increasing. So that's the bad news. Unfortunately, I have to share with you. There's some thoughts here. So we still have the two plans, right, that we were handed this incident off to us. Does it rupture and spill, or does it blow up? Right now, one of the concepts we're thinking about is because of the heavy deluge of water and cooling it, we're allowing it to cure at a slower rate and reducing its overpressure building. It's one of the thoughts. So like an ice cube that freezes from the outside in, this stuff cures, it heats up and cures from the outside in. While it's doing that process, it's building that pressure. There's a void space above the top layer of the water or the liquid to the top space. We're hoping that that space can absorb a slower cure rate and not overpressure and blow up. So that's the third option. We're optimistic and we're trying to look into validate, get some technology in there that can validate our thoughts, do some additional research.
What a
in
mess.
addition to that, we're bringing people in from all over the country, talking to people all over the place, trying to come up with additional options. Letting this thing just fail and blow up is unacceptable to us. Our goal is to find something and not allow that happen, not let it damage our community, not let it damage our environment.
So back out live now at the at what they're trying to do here. I was going to call it a firefight. It is a water fight at this point,
Right.
trying to cool these tanks down. You can see the shot we have today is farther away than what we had yesterday and even earlier today because Air 7 has to stay that much farther away. As the temperature rises, the risk rises as well. You can also hear so many of the options that they are going through. I know people are calling our newsroom, people are calling the fire authority in Orange County. They do not need your help. It is appreciated. We know everyone out there wants to help and do anything they can. They are talking to the best experts in the world, and having to field your calls with suggestions only kind of complicates matters.
Right, and they are really working with this in real time, working against the clock. At some point, you hope here in the next few hours as the sun begins to set, the external temperature will go down, which may make things easier. We often talk about these things in terms of wildfires, so the outside weather really does play a part here. We've been speaking a lot about the technical aspect of what is happening at that plant. There is also a humanitarian aspect to all of this. At least 40,000 people are now under evacuation orders. At this point, there are at least 4 official shelters that are open. Many of them are at capacity. We have reporters at some of those locations. People are being turned away because there is no longer anywhere to stay. People are being taken good care of, but these are people who had to leave their home at a moment's notice, not knowing when they will be able to return.
Right. You can see the current affected area here from Ball Road to the north down to Trask Avenue, south of the 22 freeway over to the 405 Garden Grove Boulevard to the west. Valley View, I mean, we're talking Anaheim, Garden Grove.
La Palma.
So many areas that are being affected. You see to the left there, there's an airport here, there are homes, there's obviously Disneyland and all of those areas that are not necessarily in the affected areas, but still nearby, and you don't know which way the wind will blow should this happen. So there are 2 outcomes, again, that we're waiting to see if this happens. If they are not able to get a hold of this situation, it could explode or the chemicals could spill. Let's hear more about the plans that authorities have in the event that one of those 2 things happens.
Concurrently, we're working on how do we respond to this thing should it fail. So we have very aggressive plans being developed for contingency for fire emergency, for medical emergencies, which should be limited because thankfully you have followed our direction and removed the life safety hazard of this by evacuating. The only life safety hazard now is our firefighters and our police officers and that chemistry team going down range. That eliminates a big part of this problem. And the last thing we're doing is we're preparing for the tank to fail and spill the liquid all over the place. We're going to try to establish some diking and damming and divert it to a spot that could be a holding area.
Yeah, we've heard this part too. They're repeating a lot of the same information. But all right, guys, thank you so much. I hope you stay safe. Have a happy Saturday. If something crazy pops off, I will jump back on. I should have 2 notifications. So make sure you subscribe and have all notifications turned on, and follow me YouTube, Mel Clips, my second YouTube page, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. All right. Thank you, guys. Be safe.
Environmental disaster on your hands. Neither of them, as they have been saying now for 24 hours, are good options. The better of those 2, if one were to happen, is the leak. You heard they're trying to figure out a way to contain that the best way they can.
Yeah, through dikes and reservoirs, keeping it in place and having to manage it there, put some chemicals in there to stop the reactions that are happening within this very volatile chemical.
And it's just incredible to look at that picture from Air 7, just good old-fashioned water being used to try and keep this situation under control as they try and come up with better means to contain all of this as the situation changes and to keep this from exploding. And while there is so much technicality involved in all of this, you listen to, there's some very basic methods that they're really considering here. How do you contain it, put it into a reservoir, keep it from leaking into the ocean and causing a regional problem?
Right, and as we know, the little science we don't need to learn, when water evaporates off our skin, it makes us cold. It's the general principle here. As this water is put on it, it's cold water. As it evaporates, it hopefully will cool, but it is not doing enough. This is heating up a degree per hour. That was several hours ago, so we can assume by that math it is several degrees above 90 degrees right now.
And as the expert you spoke to said, the quicker it gets hotter, the faster it condenses.
Right. Got a quick science lesson, which we'll get to. It's very interesting stuff. But we do want to let you know that this morning, Governor Newsom issued a state of emergency over this chemical situation. The governor says the order offers state agencies and resources now to Orange County to help address this issue. He says the safety of Orange County the Orange County residents is their top priority right now.
Well, we are mobilizing. This is what Governor Gavin Newsom had to say this morning. Quote, "We are mobilizing every state resource available to support local responders and make sure the community has what they need to stay safe." This has been an incredible drain on local resources as they work to keep people safe and away from their homes and fix this situation as quickly as possible.
40,000 residents of Southern California now under an evacuation order right now. This again, we take a look at this. And we don't know which way the winds will be blowing when and if this fails, but tens of thousands of people evacuated. The evacuation zone covers the west side of Garden Grove, small portions of West Anaheim and Cypress. Right now, that flow of evacuees is spread across 6 shelters available right now. They are in Cypress, Mountain Valley, at Savannah High School in Anaheim, Ocean View High School in Huntington Beach. And as you can understand, people are growing impatient, wondering when they will be allowed to go back home. What's going to happen? This is, again, a dangerous situation, and they don't know what is to come for them and their family.
Right, and yesterday we were hearing from local responders that they were having about a 15% refusal rate of people refusing to leave their homes, thinking perhaps this wasn't as dangerous. We hope at this point that has decreased, that people really do understand the danger of this situation. Many have taken shelter with family and friends in the area and farther away. I'm not sure if it's good news or bad news that this is a holiday weekend. We should point out, so there may be people that are out of town, but it's also where Disneyland is. There may be a lot of people who are in town because it is a holiday
and hotels
weekend.
Might be hard to come by in this area with people already in town. I believe we spoke with some of those evacuees and want to hear what they have to say right now.
Like the leak especially, we don't know how long that's going to take or how long it's going to take for them to resolve it. And therefore, who knows if it's going to take this weekend or till next week. I hope it doesn't.
I talk with many people, especially for the senior people. They're very frustrated. Overnight, they cannot sleep well, and another thing, they don't know when they can go home. And over here, we don't have they don't have a shower yet. That's why some, especially for the women, they feel uncomfortable.
Police officers came into our area telling everyone to leave, and so yeah, we all went, and it was kind of stressful because like, where are we gonna go? And so we had to go out, and we went to Beach Boulevard, and then we couldn't really find a place to stay home, and so then we came here. And
there's a lot going on, and they're trying to do their best and everything, you know. But it was like they had to try to pull a lot together last night. Yeah, and it was close, it was tight, but you know, it's kind of hard to sleep because I mean, you got animals barking, you got kids crying, you got people snoring. So I didn't get any sleep last night.
I feel really bad because then now they have to be forced to go into a shelter like this, and I don't know how it's in there, but it seems pretty cramped, and they're sleeping on these cots. It must be really hard for them.
We never really know like how long this will take. We hope it's soon, you know, so we're not out here for who knows how long. And whatever stuff that can happen, we hope for the best.
They can't take any action for it. It's like they're basically saying either it's going to blow up or it's going to leak or it's going to be like this for weeks or months. Who knows? It's like, it's like sort of just hanging in the air. Like, when can I go home? You know, because if the tank blows, that's bad because it's going to do a lot of damage to people's property. If it leaks, that's the best scenario. But what if it doesn't leak either? I mean, they're pouring water in that thing, so it's not going to combust probably. So I'm just like, I'm kind of tired.
And therein lies the frustration of 40,000 people in Orange County who, for right now, are out of their homes for the foreseeable future. This evacuation area also includes the city of Stanton. People there have been asked to leave their homes with no idea when they might be able to return. The Red Cross is managing these centers where people are staying, but they are getting to capacity. And people here in Southern California are used to evacuating at a moment's notice, or at least the possibility of evacuating at a moment's notice for a wildfire. This is an entirely different uncertainty that people really can't comprehend because there's a lot of technical science involved. And at this point, it seems as though the experts, if they're being blunt with us, have no good options.
Yeah, and in an area like Garden Grove, you would never have to expect to evacuate for a wildfire. You're not near much wildland. There aren't many hills around, and in a situation where you see your neighbors sometimes in neighboring counties and cities have to do this, this is likely a new thing for most of these people who are having to quickly leave their homes.
They're alive now.
We're talking about this incident happening now at this aerospace company. We look around in the surrounding areas. Disneyland is off to the east, to the northeast. You have Los Alamitos Army. That was that Army base. That was the airport that we showed in that evacuation map. It is very close there. There are a lot of people. We talked about 40,000 people evacuated. That doesn't limit the number of people who might be affected by this should something catastrophic happen. We've been mentioning this a little bit. We got a kind of a crash course, science course from a professor this morning on what can happen. You see those 3 tanks there. They all contain the same chemical that we are talking about, that MMA, the
methacrylate.
Methacrylate, a very volatile compound that basically reacts with itself. If you just let it, it would heat up and you'd see some problems. They put inhibitors into these 3 tanks, but the problem is when this chemical reaction happens, it can form like a gel, a thick gel-like substance, and that appears to have clogged the safety valves on one of these 3 tanks. It doesn't allow anything to come in or out at this point, so they can't inject any kind of inhibitor or chemical reaction to stop this from heating up and combusting. They were able to do that in the other 2 tanks, and that's obviously a good thing, where as this continues to heat up, it would heat up those other 2 tanks, but that has not happened here, and this continues to rise. So again, here is a little bit of what this professor told us in this kind of crash course on scientifically what is happening there today.
Projections are that this tank will either fail and 7,000 pounds of material will drop into the ground, and this lake will be out there. It'll be heating itself. This chemical is reacting molecule by molecule, and they stick together by themselves. They don't need any more help. And every molecule that sticks releases heat. And so what's happening inside the tank is you've got this constant reaction going on, and it's getting hotter and hotter, even though they're dousing the tank itself with water to cool it off. And in the videos shown, you can see the steam pouring off of this along with the water splashing, but it's quite hot. It was this morning inside the tank somewhere around 90 degrees. What's important to consider is that it's continuing to get hotter. It was 70 or 80 degrees last night. Now it's 90. And the hotter it gets, the faster the heat rises. And so
that's so interesting.
The reactions will accelerate to some extent. And that's where the risk comes in. Eventually, this will reach a point where it will generate so much heat that you'll actually get an explosion.
A couple more points I took away from that. Like a lot of people, we're trying to come up with solutions. why can't you just cool it down with something other than water? Bring in liquid nitrogen and do something, really put a deep freeze on it. And his concern is it would make the tank so brittle if you instantly hit it with something that cold, it's going to rupture that way, and we're dealing with the same problem. He said in a anything goes situation, you would put some kind of tent over the tanks, fill that with nitrogen, then allow it to explode due to pressure. And if there's no oxygen inside that tank, there's nothing to combust. So it would vent the pressure, the chemical would spill, but you wouldn't have that incendiary action. And so that's not exactly realistic at this point.
These are the ideas that some of the brightest minds in the field are discussing at this point at very high levels, while there are crews on the ground sort of doing their best to stabilize the situation while people come up with some sort of long-term solution and trying to abate any health risks. So we keep talking to you about this 40,000 people that are being kept far away from this. There is a reason why they are keeping people away from this area. The chemical in the tanks is called methacrylate. It is highly flammable, highly explosive, and it is used for shatter-resistant acrylic glass, paints, and adhesives. It can also be very harmful to your health. Major health organizations, including the Environmental Protection Agency, say the chemical is not likely to cause cancer in humans, but doctors say abrupt contact can potentially damage more than your lungs and skin. It can also affect your organs. Obviously, we know that this is a highly volatile chemical. There is a reason they are keeping people this far away. They want to minimize any health risk.
Yeah, and the professor said, should this be carried on the wind, the farther it goes, the more people that would be affected, but the farther it goes, the more it also dissipates. Right. So do you want a lot of wind to spread it far and affect more people and have less of it affecting each person the farther it goes, or do you want it more concentrated, trying to keep it more contained?
And in several of these different scenarios, including one of them where this would leak, you're talking about a regional impact, which is why Governor Gavin Newsom is also involved in all of this. So they're doing their best to contain the damage and keep it as minimal as possible while trying to come up with some real solutions.
Yeah, and we know about burn-offs when we see in kind of gasoline production. We sometimes see them flare some of their ports. That seems like it's something natural gas. They sometimes flare them. Whether that would be an option here, whether you would prefer the explosion to the spill. And the professor said no, the explosion would be far worse, far more catastrophic. If you're rooting for one of these two outcomes, you're rooting for the spill rather than the explosion, because that toxic smoke would cause a lot of problems very far. As far as the spill is concerned, once it is out, you can then treat it with a chemical that will stop it from reacting, that self-chemical reaction that is the problem here. Once it's out, but the fact once it is out, you start dealing with more health problems as well. You put those vapors and fumes into the air, and that can be toxic and problematic as well.
Right, and the frustrating process in all of this is, how long does this go on? How long do you have to weigh options before a decision is made for you by conditions? ABC's Jacqueline Lee is going to continue our coverage from the ground in Orange County, where she's outside a command post in Cypress.
First responders are working around the clock to prevent a massive chemical explosion in Garden Grove, California, which is about 35 miles outside Los Angeles.
I wanted to hear that, though, because it was pretty interesting information from this guy. I guess they're still alive out there, though. I don't want to... It's hard to catch them live sometimes.
Explosion after noxious vapors spewed into the air due to a leak at an aerospace manufacturing company. Authorities reporting earlier today that the temperature inside one of the tanks has been increasing each hour. Hazmat crews sent in to try to neutralize the chemical to prevent it from exploding. Now, the incident commander said they are working on trying to cool the tank from the outside in. They said they do not want to accept the fact that this will just explode. They want to keep the community as safe as possible, and they are working with experts around the country to come up with ideas. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Cypress, California.
You are looking live at pictures from Air 7 as they do their best to try and cool this tank of methacrylate that is leaking from the GKN Aerospace Center. It has been leaking, we must point out, since Thursday afternoon. That is when all of this began, but the rapid intensification of this concern to the greater community really picked up speed yesterday.
Yeah, you can see that lattice work surrounding those three tanks. They're basically large misters. Southern California knows about putting a mister out to cool things down, and that is what they're doing here, trying to get this chemical reaction to stop happening so fast inside of this tank as the pressure continues to build. So there's also an unmanned water hose being put onto this tank. That has been going since yesterday as well, just doing whatever they can to try and slow the rise in temperature, and maybe once the sun goes down and the air temperature cools off a little bit, it becomes less of a problem. But right now, we still have hours to go before the sun goes down and the temperature continues to rise.
So while our reporters are speaking with people at evacuation centers, our weather team is also going to be looking at the forecast and how that could impact all of this. And first responders are working on their best circumstances that they can come up with for solving this thing the best way possible. We're going to continue asking some of those questions and working on this behind the scenes. We'll be back on the air here at 4 o'clock on ABC 7.
In the meantime, we will continue to cover what is happening in Garden Grove. Should there be some kind of catastrophic event, we will jump back on a stream if it is before 4 o'clock. In the meantime, we'll continue to keep an eye on this, bring you the very latest, abc7.com and our ABC 7 Los Angeles app. And we will see you again in 1 hour on air and on our streaming devices.
This has been breaking news on Eyewitness News. Get alerted first.
All right, yeah, I just wanted to catch that last bit. I mean, it was interesting what that guy was saying that, he just thinks it could be potentially catastrophic. He said something else. I was thinking about something that slipped my mind, but well, anyway, yeah, I'll be around. Like I said, I'm gonna take a little break and relax. I need to clean up a little bit, but I'm gonna relax. And they say they're gonna come back in an hour. I'll see if there's anything significant or not. But if anytime tonight something crazy happens, I'm jumping on. I'll be here for sure. All right. Peace. Bloop, 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 bloop. Thank you guys. Adios.